So let us welcome Anna.
Can you hear me in the back? Is that good? Yes? Okay. As Jay mentioned, I'm a faculty member over at Cal Poly Pomona. I'm in the Computer Information Systems Department, and my area of expertise is more in the cybersecurity world. A lot of my work experience was spent auditing the security of computer systems, helping organizations make their systems more secure. There were other parts of my previous life, I refer to it as, I was a pen tester. I was authorized to hack into their systems to see how far could I go. And when I came to Cal Poly, I won't say how many years ago because I'll be dating myself, I started with the IT audit class, which is helping students like yourself go in and advise management on how to secure their systems. But I also teach the cybersecurity course. The computer forensics is an awful lot of fun. And one of the things that I developed for this year over at Cal Poly was a personal cyber wellness class. And in the personal cyber wellness class, I created themes or modules. Digital persona was one of those, of incidents that have occurred on campus where what events had occurred that a student's identity had been stolen, or they were, somebody had gotten a hold of their ID and password and inadvertently, or maybe deliberately, dropped them from all of their classes and things along those lines. So you hear a lot of war stories on college campuses, and most college students are very trusting of other individuals. And so there's an entire course that goes through so many different facets of it, and digital persona is one of those. Because what I'm trying to, let's see, is he pushing the wrong button? Or am I not in line of sight? I'm pushing the wrong button, huh? Yes, technology is our friend. There you go. And so the whole idea for you as college students is that you are going to eventually transition from a student to a business professional. So you may take classes here, get your associate's degree, go out and start working in industry, or you may transition to a four-year school. There's one right over the hill called Cal Poly Pomona. You can always apply up until November 30th, that's the deadline. And transition, get your bachelor's degree, take some of our advanced classes in cybersecurity, or if you're a software developer, we have advanced classes in that, telecommunications and networking. But you need to be very cautious about what I am challenged here.
Oh, see, Jay, you have to stand up there with her.
I'm going to stand up with her. You know what? This is the mouse. I just want to advance.
No.
Here we go. I got it. Sorry. I was pushing the wrong thing. There's only 2 buttons on this one. So we're going to talk about what is the electronic life review, some of the different social media that is out there. Some of it you may be using, others you may not, and how that can help your presence online. If you haven't thought about it, everybody needs to conduct their own digital persona and take an inventory of themselves as an individual, take a look at how they're promoting themselves online, and try to address that gap between what you want to be perceived as and what is actually out there. So put that strategy together. Hassan, okay, I've got it now. So as Jay said, we leave footprints every time we go out on the internet. And it could be something as simple as keeping track of what searches you perform, because Google and Bing do keep track of what keywords you use to search. And you see that in quite a few prominent criminal cases where they've used the search words on a computer to show some kind of intent to commit a crime. And also, you go on Amazon.com, it keeps track of what you have purchased. If you've clicked on any of their advertisements,
There's a lot of tracking that is performed online, whether you're aware of it or not. And whatever is posted today, and you may delete it tomorrow, it's still there forever. So that picture of last weekend's party that seemed pretty funny at the time that you or one of your friends posted on Facebook, if you sobered up the next day and thought, oh, that wasn't such a good thing, I'm going to take that off, somebody could have copied it in the short time that was there. There are websites that are routinely copied and archived so that it may have been copied as well. One of the things that in talking with employers, because I work on internships and full-time hires for our students, is I ask the employers, do you really look online to see what is there out there regarding students or any kind of job candidates? And most of them will tell you yes. There's research that has been done, and I think 45% is a low number, but for that research program, 45% of the employers said yes, that they do go out and they do extensive searches on job candidates. Because what you present in an interview is what you want them to know, but when they do, say, a Facebook search, they're going to see, if you have it public, all of your photos, they can see who you're connected to, and that may not be the side that you would want to share with employers. Social media is fantastic for two-way conversations online. And it's brought people of like mind, like interests, like hobbies together. It's really nice to have something in common with somebody that doesn't have to live down the street. They could be halfway around the world and you can still share why you think this. What was the new video game that came out on Tuesday? Because I saw the long lines.
It's Modern Warfare 3.
Modern Warfare 3. Anybody have it? Is it good?
Yes.
Okay, was it worth standing in line?
I didn't stand in line. I just picked mine up. Already had it paid for.
Ah, so you pre-reserved it or something?
Yeah.
Okay. So isn't it great when you get into forums and everybody that has just gotten that game talks about what is so cool about it, if there's any shortcuts, they share that with you. The internet is quite powerful. And so you need to make sure that you're knowledgeable in the different tools that are available on the social media and how it's going to be a positive influence on your online presence. So let's talk about wikis. Does anybody use wikis? Okay. My Modern Warfare guy. Wikis were probably one of the early collaboration tools that were out there, where Wikipedia is one of the largest wikis in the world right now, but there's a lot of wikis that are centered around certain subjects, and there could be cybersecurity, it could be ceramics, whatever the case may be, and you can upload photos, videos, all related to that subject. And so you can post questions, have those answered. Wikis tend to be very current, so that when you post a question up there to something that is challenging you that you can't get past, you can get an answer pretty darn fast on that. Whereas blogs, it's like the good old days when I was a teenager, you journaled everything in a book and hopefully your parents didn't see it. But it's online and you tend to update that regularly. If you were used to journaling, you're going to be blogging every day. I like to use blogs to share what I think is the latest and the greatest in the cybersecurity world, and other folks that want to take a look at it, and they may agree, they may disagree, it's up to them. But I use it for discussion purposes, and I always try to include relevant events. I use Twitter for that as well. I was very against using Twitter because I thought, what can you really say in 140 characters? You can actually say a lot in 140 characters, and it's short and it's sweet, boom, it's fast. So I like to use blogs for something a bit more involved. And Facebook, how many have a Facebook page? Okay, more hands go up for that one. Facebook is the fastest growing social networking site. Back in 2004, they had very few. And in 2008, they were only at 100 million users. And then look at the leap in 2009. It was almost 4 times in 1 year the number of accounts. That's a lot. And the latest stats I have is until July of this year, and I want to say it was 750 million users. Right? How many people are in the world?
7 billion?
7 billion. So that's quite a bit of them are sitting on Facebook. And it lets you keep in touch. You can share photos. You can also tag the photos with maybe the person's name or their nickname, so that if you want to do a search in Facebook, it'll actually point to those photos. Share links to information and videos. I like the games. I like Farmville, I'm sorry. Some of my friends are so addicted, we have to get back early from lunch so that they can either go harvest or water their crops. And so it's very fun doing those games. You can have friends on there, and you can join a network of people with similar interests. So Facebook really started from an individual perspective. Now you're starting to see companies and organizations, especially a lot of the nonprofits for the events that they put on, also have Facebook pages now as well. When you think about it, you can reach 750 million people. That's a lot of people. So 250 million are accessing Facebook through a mobile device. So in those presentations that you've been seeing yesterday as well as today are talking about some of the risks associated with those mobile devices. But of the 750 million users, 70% are outside of the United States. So some parts of the world are catching on to this more than we are. More than half of their users log in at least once a day. And if you're on a mobile device, you're going to access it several times that day because it's right there. Why wouldn't you? Average users have 130 friends. I didn't think I would have that many friends. There's 20 million applications that are downloaded and installed every day. 20 million. And people spend over 700 billion minutes a month on Facebook. But you can use Facebook to develop your digital persona. And if you're not comfortable using Facebook, one of the things you need to do is just go ahead and set up a page, lock it down, and don't even use it. And wait until you're ready to start using Facebook. And you may never be ready to start using Facebook, but you know what? Nobody else can impersonate you by creating their own Facebook page with your name on it. Because I'm sure they're not going to be representing you very positively if they want to hide who they are and use your name instead. Twitter is the, sorry.
When that happens, what do you do?
If somebody does, you report it to Facebook, and they have on their support link on their website, they have a situation where you think you've been a victim of identity theft.
Could you also figure this report to the police or the feds?
You could, especially if you think that your financial information has been compromised as a part of it. You definitely want to report it to the credit reporting bureaus. They'll put a fraud alert on your credit report so that they won't be giving out, instant credit when you walk into Macy's. Hey, get a credit card today, and you $300 or something like that. They won't give out that type of credit. They'll ask for additional photo identification before any credit is going to be issued in your name. And then they decide whether they have enough evidence to start a criminal prosecution. Identity theft is, across the United States, is quite rampant because we put so much information online and not secured it. So they're inundated with those type of cases. And they need to make sure that whatever evidence they have, it needs to be able to stand up in a court of law beyond a reasonable doubt. And sometimes there isn't enough.
One of the things that I've been noticing, like today, one of the professors had their name and student ID. And that's an identity theft. So there have been cases of people taking identities out of the student IDs.
Just using the student ID.
But the thing is that, I don't know if you guys are training the faculty that they have to be careful. They should just show 4 digits. Because I remember in Cal Poly they used to have Social Security as your ID.
Yes.
And
We did.
They took that out because there was people stealing identities.
Yes,
So,
we used to use your social security number as your student identifier.
but still, like, I I've seen people steal those identities.
Yes, you can steal the identity. In California, we have identified what we consider to be personally identifiable information. And these are key parts of your persona that if they get into the wrong hands, they could potentially take out credit in your name, make other run-up debt in other forms, and you would still be liable. And then you'd have to prove that wasn't me. So on our campus, because we've had instances of identity theft, California is tracking much higher than the rest of the nation. And in California, it's the 18 to 24-year-olds that are the most hit because they think, you know, I'm just a starving student. You know, I'm not worth very much. Well, you are worth something out there. They can run up quite a bit of debt before we start realizing it.
The reason why I'm saying this is because I have a friend, she's taking nutrition with me. Just because of that, she got identity theft over just for student ID.
Just a student ID.
They got that, and they ran her credit for $10,000. Now she's going through, like, with the feds and IRS and everything to stop that shit. I'm sorry for saying that. Like,
It takes
people
quite
should
some
realize that
time.
if you have your professors, please inform them not to show your IDs, like your A number, all of it. It's at least 4 digits, the last 4 digits. Okay, tell your professors that.
I don't use them. I just use their student name. In the days though when we had the social security numbers, we always said the last 4 digits was all you could show. Except as I walked by a faculty member's office one day, he had his Excel spreadsheet because we completed finals and people were curious as to what their grade. It was just taped up on their door with full socials. And I was like, ooh, let me rip that down right now.
I thought, because I thought that you guys knew, and that's what I've been informed.
No, faculty don't know. And the opposite is true as well, is when we're dealing with other people's personal information, we need to secure it as well. So do unto others as you would have them done to yourself. And so we all just need to be very conscious of what kind of information, one, are we giving out, but also what do we have in our possession that we need to secure as well. A lot of it is awareness, training. Difficult to train faculty in the sense that our schedules are all over the place. I'm trying to think, our department, we're probably about 12 or 13. If we're lucky, there might be 5 of us there at any point in time at the same time. So because I'm in this field, I did a service workshop for all of the faculty in our department. Because we all have our specialty areas and some are not as familiar with security practices as the rest of us are. You're welcome. Let's see. As I said, I just started using Twitter. I have 4 followers. One's my daughter, so I don't know if that really counts though. But I thought I would go ahead, start my account, and just start sending out short messages. I follow other accounts like the Department of Homeland Security will issue alerts with it. We just finished National Cybersecurity Awareness Month. They were sending out tweets every day of just short little reminders of making sure that your password is of a certain length and a certain complexity so somebody else cannot guess it. Or don't write your passwords down was one that seems to come every week from the Department of Homeland Security. But you can't do any more than 140 characters. Delivered to your followers or your friends instantly to their computer or their mobile phone. And a typical beginner would say something like they had a hard day, I'm going to go to bed. I feel like that a lot of times, but I don't tweet it. It doesn't really have much value to your followers. And usually your intermediate users will start putting links to websites. Like when I'm done here, I'm going to say that I spoke at Mount SAC as a part of their security week and put in a short URL to the website as well as some keywords using the hashtags. Because in Twitter, you can search much like you do in Facebook. And usually you use the hash codes for topics that people would search on. That's how I found some of the accounts that I wanted to follow as well. So I didn't start at beginner, I started here at intermediate, and now I'm getting a bit more gutsy here, doing some of the advanced stuff. And I learn a lot from the other folks that I am following. So it's really great to promote events And if any of you are in a student club here on campus, use Twitter to promote what you are doing. If you've got special speakers coming in, tweet all of that. And you just don't know who's going to come walking through the door because they've received that tweet. LinkedIn is another, it's not really a social networking site, it's more of a professional networking site that started in 2002. In their first month, they got 4,500 members. I work mostly with seniors in our program. I require them to start LinkedIn accounts. And as they go to professional association meetings, because I start dragging them to them, and they meet people in the industry, or they hear speakers discuss a topic at a meeting, that they send them an invitation to connect on LinkedIn. And once you do that, you can see who their, I shouldn't say friends, their connections are. Are these leaders in the industry that you also want to be connected to? And half of the members in LinkedIn are outside of the United States. This is another way that you can start developing your persona online. Most organizations, when you go in for a job interview, they look at Facebook and they look at LinkedIn, because they want to see who you're connected to. And then they worry, what if I don't see anything for you? Whoops, I went the wrong direction again. Let's see, is there anything? One of the things I forgot to mention, in LinkedIn, in your profile, you're going to have your employment history, your education, if you have hobbies, interests. I don't put my email account out there. If somebody wants to contact me, I have them go through LinkedIn. I like a little bit of a layer between me and them. I do the same thing with my cell phone number. I use Google Voice, which is one number that people, they call that. Then it comes to my personal cell phone, and then I decide, do I want to answer it or not answer it? So I'm not giving my personal cell phone account out there. And the nice thing about Google Voice, it's no longer invitation only, all of you can use it, is what if you gave your cell phone number to somebody that you no longer want to associate with? With Google Voice, you can block them, and they will never know. It'll just keep ringing. And so if you're worried about how the reaction is going to be, Google Voice is a very safe way to go. And I love it if they send me a voicemail. It will convert it to a text message and send it to my phone. So I don't really have to dial in for my voice messages. And the search capability is extensive in LinkedIn. I can go in and find out Cal Poly Pomona graduates. I can see if somebody worked at a previous company the same as myself. In doing a lot of the extracurricular efforts that we do over at Cal Poly Pomona, sometimes I'll say, well, you know, I really need somebody from Cisco. I'll go into LinkedIn and I'll type in Cisco and see who is available, who's set up in LinkedIn, which most of them are, and then send them an invitation. And you'd be surprised how many times I get a response from those because it's coming through LinkedIn. YouTube, love YouTube. We can all take a very quick, easy video. We can edit it, put sound, of course not something that is copyrighted, and post it up on YouTube. So as a part of your digital persona, if you know something really well, create a video of it and put it up there so that when you're applying for the position, okay, all they have is a resume or an application. They do a search, they can see your YouTube video, which is almost the same as meeting you face to face. And a lot of our students separate themselves from other people applying for the positions through YouTube videos or by meeting potential employers, I should say, at professional associations or events like this. You just never know who you're sitting next to anywhere that you go. For YouTube, 15 billion videos are viewed each month. Isn't that amazing? 24 hours of video viewing is uploaded every minute to YouTube. That's a lot. 2 billion views each day. So there's 7 billion people in the world, and we have 2 billion views each day. For me as an educator, it's another media. There are quite a few good videos out there that enrich the learning experience in some of my classes. So I don't don't know if your identity is worth $60,000, but the $60,000 question is, if somebody did a search on your name, what would they find? I sit down every month, I Google my name, because I want to see if there's anything new that's been posted out there. There is another Anna Carlin out there, but she's doing great work cleaning the water at the Venice canals. So I'm okay with her having the same name as me. In fact, I would volunteer to go, because Venice would be terrible to have to go visit. But also use your nickname to see what comes back on that. So I may look last month, and this month I may find something new. So it's not just you that can post things about you, other people can post things about you, and is that something that you want? One of my friends had tagged a video and put it up on Facebook, even though I told them, do not post any photos of me. Sheila and Jay, when they were searching my name online, they found one photo. I try not to have very much out there about me, or if it is, I have posted it up there. Are there some of your postings that might be offensive to others? And the golden rule is, if it's okay for your mom to see it, then it's perfectly fine for the internet. And so there's times when you're online and you're ready to post something, that little voice inside your head, or the little devil maybe, or it would be the angel, would pop up and say, should I put that up there? Think about it, would it be fine for one of my parents or somebody else that I value their opinion of me, would it be okay for them to see it? And if it says no, then don't put it up there. There's a lot of research that's been done as far as using social media to evaluate not employees, but future job candidates, to see how much of that do you use in your day-to-day duties. In CIS, we're very technology-based. They expect us to use all of this technology appropriately, so they may take a look at how many Twitter followers do you have and who do you follow, to get a sense of where your interests lie. How do you represent yourself on Facebook? Is it a professional Facebook page or is it a personal? I have two different ones. And I leave my professional one open because I want people to see all of that work I'm doing. My personal one is shut. It's very private. Who are you connected to on LinkedIn? My LinkedIn account, I had to have personally met you before I'm ever going to add you as one of my contacts in LinkedIn. So I don't believe in more the merrier. I believe that I know you, I recognize the name, I appreciate you as a professional in the field, then I will go ahead and do the connection. I'm not into how many people do you have. What expertise do you show in your blog or other blogs or a wiki? What groups are you a member of? LinkedIn has groups. Wikis are groups of interest to begin with. And what kind of videos or podcasts have you posted out there? So sometimes you just need to get out there and do little bits of this to see how effective it is. I had a group of students that did videos that were for a EDUCAUSE contest, and I know Mount SAC has done that in years past as well. So I set up a channel on YouTube and loaded up all the students' videos, and I started getting emails saying, oh, so-and-so is subscribed to your video. And this one has, and this one has, and I thought, wow, where did all these people come from? But they liked the video. And so you need to have a strategy. Think about what you want your digital identity to be out there when they Google your name. Is that what you want? Think about, what are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What do you already have out there? What should you possibly add based on the different types of social media that are available? So the first thing is to ask all of those very hard questions. And sometimes we have, we're very good at finding all the weaknesses. We're very critical of ourselves. That's human nature. But ask other people whose opinion you really value, what do they see as some of your strengths? And that will help you tremendously in balancing these out. Do you have any skills, expertise, certifications, degrees that are related to the area, and see where am I kind of light on this that I need to develop it further, and then that which I'm very good at, how do I promote that better out on the internet? A lot of organizations organizations are asking, how well do you communicate, whether it's in a written form or an oral form. A lot of you may have a technical background, or you may not. So how do you explain very complex technical issues to somebody that's not embroiled in that day in and day out? A lot of you are going to be the bridge between the very technical and the non-technical. Why is this important to you? What kind of careers are you considering? What do you know well, and what would you like to learn? Another thing is a lot of employees are spread around the world that you may be working on projects. If you have no experience with collaborating in a virtual environment, that may hamper your productivity with that organization. So by using the different social media to promote yourself better, it also shows that you're very forward in that area and you are going to already be a collaborator in the online environment. And this last question is kind of hard to answer. And I asked people that I thought would be truthful with me. They weren't going to tell me what I wanted to hear. They were going to be truthful for me. Based on what I do have online, do I look like I'm a nice person? Or do I come across as being very arrogant, I know-it-all? And do I come across as being lazy or productive? I hope productive. That's the expectation. Do I come across as a collaborator? Or do I just want everything done my own way? And I always want to look dependable as opposed to being distracted and I'm scattered with 20 different interests. 20 different interests would be hard to master. You could be, know a little bit about a lot of things, but in this field you need to show what are you strong in and are you an expert in that area. So then you have to take a look at where's the gap and how am I going about to address it. Because whatever is online, people tend to believe it, whether it's real or not. And so you're going to have to determine what tools you're going to use to help promote yourself much better. And one of the things you have to do is make a commitment. If you start Twitter, you need to tweet at least once a week to keep your followers interested in what you're doing. Start out little. If you get to the point where you're going to be sending out tweets every day and you'll get used to using some of these tools, there are software programs out there that you can load up a week's worth of tweets and they'll release them when you tell them to, so that you're not addicted to it day in and day out. I don't have a smartphone, so my tweets all come through email. Well, it's until I actually log into my email, which I try to get in there at the beginning of the day, but between my classes and my office hours, sometimes I don't see it until about 6 o'clock at night when I close my door, ready to head home. And it should be something that you continue to develop throughout your career, whether it's your career here at Mount SAC or any place after this. It should be very dynamic and you should be adding to it, much like your resume. Every year you revamp your resume, you should be adding new skills or new experience to it. Same thing in this world as well. You don't want to look like you're stagnant or out of date. Things move very, very fast. And so I use Judge Judy here to remind you, these are some of the guidelines. Be selective about what you put online. Listen to that little voice that says, should I put that up there? That usually means no. Posting is permanent, so it can be copied, could be saved, be used by other people. Private is never truly private. Even though Facebook has privacy settings, in the past they have been hacked, where they go around the privacy settings. Facebook used to, when it was doing upgrades to their system, whether you noticed it or not, was resetting your privacy settings to the default, which was public. So people would have to periodically go in there and make sure it was still private, if that's what they had set it to. And I would put this down here too. Post only items you wouldn't mind your family, your friends, employers, colleges, and the police department from seeing. Especially the police department. And this alludes to something I mentioned earlier. If you don't want to use all of these tools that are available to you, lock it down so nobody else can impersonate you. So take a Twitter account in your name or your nickname if it's not already taken. Because there are some people that may have the same name as yourself. Nicknames tend to be a lot more common than your full-blown legal name. Same thing with LinkedIn. Sign up for it and just mark it as private and don't accept any new postings to it. Same thing with MySpace. Anybody still use MySpace here? Well, that was the first one. And then Facebook just took off. Now there's also Google Plus. Do we have any Google Plus fans? Okay, do you think it's better than Facebook? From what perspective? You believe it's more secure? So what is it that's in Google Plus that isn't in Facebook from a security perspective?
I don't know. I think it's better. It's easier to filter out who you're sending your data to.
So even though you have a large group of friends, you can say, oh, just the core central group is going to get this from my site. If you're outside of that but still a friend, you may not get that. Okay, so that's nice. Then you can have a lot of friends, and then you say which ones are the closest to you. And which ones, yeah, maybe they're just acquaintances. Okay. I haven't signed up. I got an invitation when it first started, and it was a busy time of the quarter, and I didn't have time to go in there and play. And even if you can control what you post online, other people will post things about you. So I always ask my friends not to post my photos, don't post my kids' photos, but that doesn't stop my kids from posting their own photos. But that's up to them what they want to do. Sometimes I do searches on their names and went, whoa, so that's where they were last weekend. Okay. And regularly perform searches on your name. See what other people are saying. And if you don't like it and a friend put up a picture, ask them to take it down. And I think your friends would abide by that. And there's a lot of security issues associated. You've been hearing them for the last couple of days. Some things that are the more common ones is the strength of your passwords. Making sure that it's something that cannot be easily guessed. But don't make it so long and complicated that you're tempted to write it down and put it someplace where you're always going to be able to have access for it. Antivirus protection on all your digital devices, not just your computer. It needs to be your tablets, your cell phones, whatever digital devices you have, as well as malware software. Because antivirus is looking for known viruses. Malware is looking at something that acts like it's a bad thing. It doesn't necessarily know if it is bad or not. So the two in conjunction are going to pretty much keep your systems clean. Eliminate tracking and other malicious cookies. I always turn off cookies in my web browser. However, there are some sites that they won't allow you to come in their site unless you enable cookies. So you decide how bad do you want to go onto that website. Turn on your cookies. Just remember when you leave the website, turn them back off again. And go ahead and delete. Where is that? Clear your cache and internet history when you get out of those websites. It was one of my financial institutions. When you go to YouTube, you'll see the pop-up saying they want to access stuff in your computer. Hit deny, deny. Don't give them access to anything. Use encryption when possible so that anything that you consider to be valuable, it's going to be scrambled so that only authorized individuals are going to be able to unscramble and read it in clear text. Be careful who you're friends with online, but it sounds like Google Plus. You can kind of group your friends into levels of, kind of like levels of trust, I would think. Actually, now I'm going to have to go look at that. I'm off on Friday, so I think I'll go explore that further.
So you don't have to be invited.
Good. So I imagine there's quite a few folks that have already jumped on the Google Plus bandwagon, I would think. Be careful when you download applications. I'm sure one of the previous speakers said that there's a lot of malware in those apps that you install onto your smartphones. And remember, your mobile device is also an internet connection. So whatever you're doing to protect your PC, you should be looking to do it with your mobile devices, which are mostly like the tablets and your smartphones that are out there. Because there's a lot of very bad people out there on the internet, and before the internet, your world was really geographically the immediate area around you. Now with the internet, we can touch everybody around the world. It's not always a positive interaction. So you need to protect your online persona. Oh, did I go the wrong way? One of the things that I forgot to mention that's on the slide here is you don't only create your own content, go out there and ask your friends to post content about you. So in LinkedIn, you can post recommendations where you've worked with somebody and what were the things that they did that you really liked about them as a professional. And if by chance your identity has been stolen, whether it's online or financially, is go tell your friends and colleagues what happened. And make sure that if your friends have blogs, that they're going to spread the word about that as well. Because a lot of times they'll steal your email address and start sending out emails in your name that you don't want to be associated with that. And boost the existing content by linking it to different profiles and blogs. And if you put enough positive content up there, it's going to show up in the higher, the early parts of any internet search that you do, and the negative stuff will start falling towards the bottom. And you can always contact the administrator for the websites as well to have things taken down about you. Some webmasters are easier to work with in dealing with that, others not so much. So it may be a bit of hit or miss. And tell everybody you're out there online and to connect to you. Yes?
The way to, you should inform people. So also the police department, they can do that for you too. So if this happens, go to the authorities and they will do it right there when at the spot.
And usually you go to the law enforcement for the city that you live in.
Yes.
Even though the people that are doing the bad things might be halfway around the world, but start with where you live, and law enforcement will walk you through the steps.
And then they'll keep a record and they'll easily, but be much easier for them to track that person and get that person immediately.
And the other thing too, anything regarding your Mount SAC accounts here, if anything goes on, you need to report it to the authorities here on campus as well. Because most likely if your identity here at Mount SAC that's been compromised, there's probably a lot more of you out there as well. We've had, over at Cal Poly, we've had, what do you call them, keyloggers or swipers that were installed over some of our kiosks on campus. So that as you're putting your card in and typing in your PIN number, it's recording the whole thing. And it took us a while to figure it out. And the nice thing was is we actually got the device and pulled off the information, so we knew whose information had been collected, so we could identify them specifically. But yeah, it's required us to go around and look at all of the different devices that we use on campus that are public use and make sure that our students are protected. And I'm sure that's being done here as well. But don't be afraid to go to the Information Security Office here on campus as well if something just doesn't seem right with your Mount SAC account. Because like I said, some of our students, people drop their classes for them. Yes?
How easy is it with information to be compromised?
Well, for our student, when they logged into their account and all their classes had been dropped and they knew they didn't do it, that was the first heads up with that. And then we asked them, well, have you shared your ID and password? Well, I was having a hard time typing it in. The guy next to me offered to do it. Okay. Do you know this guy? No, it was just, he was a nice guy. He was helping me.
Be careful also when you put your ID, because I've seen people when they put their ID, I tell them, they leave them right on the table.
Your school ID?
Yeah, your school ID, and it's exposed. People will take a picture. That's it.
Especially with the cell phones
Social,
today.
like even Social Security, credit cards, anything.
Yeah, do not carry your Social Security card around in your wallet, please.
And especially now since the holidays are coming in, even worse.
You're going to see more of these
Yeah.
instances around the holidays holiday season. The banks have a lot of issues with swipers at the ATM machines, the gas stations, and the technology is becoming more sophisticated in that previously they would have to literally remove the device to get all the information that it's swiped. Now it's wireless. All they have to do is get within 25 feet of it with a laptop and a wireless antenna, and they can just download it.
Well, this is something, let me just say this, because I work for the sheriff's department,
Okay.
and if you guys need information or anything like that, there's also people now on cell phones. I'm saying that okay, people are taking pictures. If you have your credit card, they will charge stuff, and they will, like you said, like swiping, they can do it on the phone, on the smartphone. That's how simple it is now, technology.
Especially the new
iPhone.
iPhones.
When I say this, be very, very careful now for the holidays.
You know what?
Okay.
While we're at it, just send up a light block. Have a promotion going on.
Yeah. That's why smartphones, technology can be advantage and it can be a good thing and it can be a bad thing. But be very careful with your identities. So tell your family and friends and your life. Thank you.
Now, one of my students, somebody had stolen his identity, and he was pulled over for a traffic stop. And of course, the person had a warrant out, and he kept saying, "That is not me." Well, he was down at the county jail in LA. I got a phone call from the public phone saying he wouldn't be making it to class that day. And I said, okay, resolve all your legal issues, and when that's done, come on back in and we'll figure out what you have missed. It took him about 3 months, because he was also facing deportation as a part of it as well. Yes, it was not fun. So it took about 3 months, and law enforcement was very helpful in the steps that he needed to go through and do it. Once they realized that this is not the same person, went through, and he actually got lawyers because of all the legal issues surrounding it, and then had to really take a look at what else did this person do that I am responsible for now, because they have my name and some of my personal information.
And one of the other cases that we got was that someone, like, this is me, they were charging their credit card in the state of California and another in the state of Florida. And both at the same, this is how we caught that person. It was like,
Really?
it was like, how can this person be in Florida and in California? And that's what I'm saying, like, they'll take a picture and they can easily charge things. And even, we've seen other ones, like, we've seen it all the way in Brazil, charging from, you're not being in the state of California, people are charging you in Brazil. That's what you're saying, like, the world's becoming small. So be very, very careful.
And the credit card companies are building systems that will look for those anomalies. Whenever I travel outside of the country, I notify American Express and my Visa company to let them know that I'm traveling outside of the country, this is where I'm going, and these are the dates that I will be gone. Because I went to, I forget where it was China, and when I used my credit card, it was denied. And it's quite embarrassing when your credit card is denied. And then I realized, you know what, I didn't tell them I was going to be here. So I had to go with cash the whole time while I was there. That wasn't fun. But they'll also look for those anomalies as well. Charges coming in on the exact same credit card that geographically are nowhere near each other.
And the banks also will work with you. The banks will protect your money, and they'll give you like a temporary card. They'll change everything to your hands. So the banks will like stop everything, isolate.
Yeah. So unfortunately, law enforcement sees an awful lot of these cases, but it's good for you, because then if you're concerned about your information or your persona online, they're going to tell you the best steps that you need to go through in resolving that. So any other questions or comments? Yes.
For me, I'm very, I'll shy away from it because it's very easy. Is there like classes that you can use it? I mean, it's a lot of information to absorb here, you know, and then to remember everything. But is there somewhere that you can be taught how to use what you were saying? Because I don't have
issues, how you set your privacy settings in Facebook. I use YouTube quite a bit. And if you just type in Facebook privacy settings, it'll show you how to do it and explain it. And it's nice, they're slower and you can pause it. Okay, let me do that. Come back, hit play. Okay, let me do the next thing. So you don't need a class, you just need to take Facebook and set it up and do your privacy settings correctly. LinkedIn would be the next one, especially if you're changing careers. You definitely want to do LinkedIn as well.
One of the other things, city mayor or the city of Walnut, this all throughout every city in the Union of the States here. They're setting up events, and they'll be for free. So you can go in there and they're specialists. They're also law enforcement, and they can help you set up your accounts. If you need it, they'll help you right there. Okay, so just always log into your city and check out the event states, and it'll say when to go in. And it's free. It's for the public.
Just don't give them your passwords. Well, thank you, everybody. Is there a drawing?